Days after the high-stakes talks between the United States and Iran in Pakistan collapsed without a breakthrough, a major embarrassment has hit the Trump administration. Now, explosive new claims suggest the US may even have tried to target Iran's negotiators themselves and failed at that too. The Iranian delegation's plane was suddenly diverted mid-journey, and Tehran's envoys say they were forced to change course and routing, foiling a supposed murder plans. From failed diplomacy to botched war plans and now shadowy intelligence operations, Iran is increasingly portraying the US as a bumbling superpower that threatens everything and achieves nothing. Days after the USA and Iran wrapped up their tense talks in Pakistan, a stunning revelation has now emerged from within the Iranian delegation itself, casting a long shadow over what really happened once the cameras were turned off. According to one member of the Iranian delegation, the team felt seriously threatened during their journey, a claim that suggests the risks they faced went far beyond normal diplomatic pressure or routine security concerns. These developments were reported by Iran International, which cited an interview on Al-Mayadeen with Mohammad Marandi, a key advisor often close to Tehran's negotiating circles, giving the allegations additional political weight. Marandi said the talks ended abruptly following a direct intervention by US Vice President JD Vance, implying that Washington's leadership pulled the plug and chose escalation over compromise at a critical moment. Following the breakdown of the negotiations, the Iranian team began their journey back to Tehran on April 12, expecting a routine return home after an exhausting but inconclusive 21-hour round of talks. Marandi claims that while they were flying back to Iran, members of the delegation felt seriously threatened, prompting a decision to divert their aircraft away from its original destination and instead head toward Mashhad. He says the plane was unexpectedly diverted and made what he described as an emergency landing in Mashhad, a move that underscores how urgent and real the perceived threat seemed to those on board. From there, members of the delegation did not immediately fly onward but continued their journey to Tehran using trains, cars, and buses, a patchwork route that signals deep concern over their safety in the air. Marandi did not provide specific details about who or what exactly posed the alleged threat, leaving many questions unanswered and fueling speculation about whether foreign intelligence services were involved. However, he stressed that despite the danger, the Iranian delegation was determined to return home and refused to remain in Pakistan under extended protection, insisting on finishing their mission and going back to Tehran. Marandi's revelations came on the heels of statements from Iran's foreign ministry condemning what it called assassination threats and incitement in US media against the negotiators, tying his account into a broader Iranian narrative of state-level intimidation and terror. Social media erupted with concern over the safety of senior Tehran officials after the high-stakes US-Iran talks in Islamabad collapsed without an agreement. Online users speculated about potential assassination plots targeting Iranian delegates during and after the meeting, amplifying fears about their security. Unverified claims circulated that extra security measures, including the use of decoy aircraft, were deployed to shield top Iranian negotiators from possible attacks. This wave of speculation followed similar warnings from Iran's foreign ministry, which had already condemned what it called open incitement against its leaders. On April 11, as the talks got underway, ministry spokesperson Esmail Baqi highlighted mounting security threats to senior officials participating in the negotiations. Baqi alleged that elements within US policy and media were openly advocating the killing of Iranian leaders if the peace talks failed. Iran's delegation in Islamabad included Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi and Parliament Speaker Mohammad Bagher Ghalibaf, underlining the political weight Tehran placed on the talks. As Baqi voiced these concerns, Iran and the United States ultimately failed to reach a deal despite some 21 hours of intensive negotiations. The rare in-person meeting, the first of its kind in over a decade, had raised hopes of de-escalation before ending in disappointment. US Vice President JD Vance later said the discussions were held in good faith, but acknowledged they had not produced any agreement. Vance added that Washington had put forward what he called its final and best offer, arguing that Tehran chose not to accept key conditions, particularly on nuclear commitments. Donald Trump, meanwhile, struck a defiant tone, insisting that the United States had already won the conflict by defeating Iran militarily, regardless of whether a deal was reached. Reports indicate that a US naval blockade in the Strait of Hormuz came into effect on April 13, according to multiple sources. US naval forces have reportedly begun restricting vessels from entering or departing ports associated with Iran. A White House official confirmed to CNBC that the blockade in the Strait of Hormuz is now operational. Naval units at sea are said to have adhered to President Trump's stated 10 a.m. Eastern Time deadline for enforcing the blockade. The US president also issued a new warning to Iran through a statement posted on Truth Social on April 13th. Trump stated that Iran's fast attack vessels could face retaliation if they attempt to interfere with US operations. The US president said, and I quote, "Iran's navy is laying at the bottom of the sea, completely obliterated, 158 ships. What we have not hit are their small number of, what they call, fast attack ships, because we did not consider them much of a threat. Warning, if any of these ships come anywhere close to our blockade, they will be immediately eliminated, using the same system of kill that we use against the drug dealers on boats at sea. It is quick and brutal. PS 98.2% of drugs coming into the US by ocean or sea have stopped." End quote. Iran's foreign ministry responded strongly, criticizing what it described as a unilateral blockade imposed by the United States. Spokesperson Esmail Baghai questioned whether such actions could justify broader economic consequences at a global level. Iran Foreign Ministry said, and I quote, "Can an illegal war of choice be won through a revenge of choice against the global economy? Is it ever worthwhile to cut off one's nose to spite one's face?" End quote. Ahead of the stated deadline, Iran's armed forces indicated that maritime security in the region would be directly impacted if its interests were threatened. The Qatar Al-Anbiya headquarters issued a statement warning of potential retaliatory measures at sea. Iranian authorities also described the proposed blockade as unlawful and characterized it as an act of maritime coercion.
$25 करोड़ गरीब गरीबी को परास्त करके बाहर निकले।
For the good of our nation, let's work together and let's truly make America great again.
The fastest news breaks.
Requested PM saying that look, you will have to speak to Putin and to Zelensky.
The biggest newsmakers.
The relationship with India is probably the most important bilateral relationship the US will have for the rest of this century.
The capital delivered quite an election result today.
Expert analysis.
The million-dollar question today is how to stop this dance of death.
Ground reports.
I'm standing at the crossroad of the Kumbh Mela. Behind me are more than 100 entry ghats.
Long-form interviews.
Exclusionary politics is reflected in Manipur case as well. You don't bother because this is a small state.
Deep dive into burning issues.
It's often said DRC could be the richest country in the whole world. It's because of what sits underneath.
Why exactly did the US topple the Sheikh Hasina government?
HD videos. We don't just break news, we break it down.